Seas are very important areas for states. Although not all states in the world have the coast, coastal states benefit from the advantages provided by seas. The greatest contribution of that sea to the states is realized in economic terms. Seas are places where economic activities are intensively carried out in terms of transportation and logistics, tourism, fishing, and natural resources. While the economic features of the seas generally come to the fore under normal conditions, their strategic features, which are more important under the war conditions, come to the fore. Under the conditions of the war, the seas appears as the areas where states can make wide maneuvers. Naval forces shows functional features in both defense and attack. If you want to attack a country, you make the best attack with the amphibious troops. If you want to defend a country, you can make the best defense at the seas in the areas far from the mainland. For these reasons, these seas are of a great importance in the war and the peace. The Black Sea, which Russia aggressively claims as its own, it is also a strategically important sea. Especially since the beginning of the Russian-Ukrainian war, the Black Sea has been a zone of competition. Initially, Ukrainian naval forces were more passive than Russian ones. Today, however, Ukrainian naval forces have become a threat to Russia in the Black Sea. Recent operations have clearly demonstrated Ukraine's power at sea. The Ukrainian military has taken bold steps in the Black Sea, which Russia has threateningly blocked it. It caught Russian troops off guard many times and carried out successful operations. The latest video shared by the Ukrainian army is a breathtaking naval operation in the Black Sea. Let's take a look at Ukraine's later naval operation. Kiev continues to share information from the regions where Ukrainian attacks on the Kremlin Navy are intense. While tensions are frequent in the region, new footage of Ukraine's attack on Russian target in the Black Sea is being followed with great interest. Due to its location, the Black Sea is an important battlefield for the Russian and Ukrainian armies. Russia frequently attempts to attack Ukrainian cities from the Black Sea using sea-to-surface missiles. In recent months, the Ukrainian army has been attacking Russian targets in the Black Sea, especially fleet bases in Crimea and Novorossiysk, on the Russian mainland. The Ukrainian military's use of unmanned aerial vehicles in the air and at the sea in its attacks has been followed with great attention. The Ukrainian army has significantly increased its operational capability. Traces of this increase can be seen in the latest operations. The Ukrainian army is wreaking havoc on the Russian fleet with unmanned naval vehicles. It is clear from the footage that the attacks was carried out at a moment when Russian troops were unprepared. This means that the Ukrainian intelligence is in the background of the operation. Mikhail Fedorov, Ukraine's deputy prime minister and an official in charge of Ukraine's drone programs, shared information about Ukraine's situation in the Black Sea. He said that the Ukrainian naval fleet serves to conduct special operations and the most effective weapons are used to liberate the occupied Black Sea coast. He explained that naval aircraft are being developed and upgraded by the Ukrainian military in line with the needs. Adding to these achievements will continue. International research centers also note that the Ukrainian military is intensively using naval vessels to improve conditions for future decisive operations in the Black Sea region. The center cited the example of Ukrainian forces' attacks on Russia's rear fronts, regions, and deep points as an example of the expansion of this scope of attacks. Another event that has made the struggle in the Black Sea important has been developments related to the grain deal. The Black Sea ensured that the safe transportation of Ukrainian grain to the other parts of the world. This was the main point of the agreement, which eliminated worries about the global famine. But in the middle of the last month, Russia withdrew from the United Nations-led grain agreement. Russia's withdrawal jeopardized the grain corridor. In the early hours of the morning, the Russian Defense Ministry published a message that clearly demonstrated its aggressive stance. In the early morning hours, the Russian Navy's Vasily Baikov patrol ship fired warning shots at the cargo ship in the Black Sea. Moscow justified the attack with a negative response to a request to inspect the vessel. Russia's aggressive behavior drew great reaction. Russia, which has been subjected to greater embargoes due to its behavior in the Black Sea, does not seem to care about the situation, but it is trying to compensate for it. Russia, which continues to search for new partners, keeps its distance because it has some problems with its current supporters. Moscow, which is carrying out new plans and proxy wars over Africa, may sign different agreements in the coming days. Everyone is eagerly awaited to see how Russia, which is making strategic plans in Africa together with China, will proceed. The Ukrainian government, on the other hand, recently announced that a new humanitarian corridor will be created to allow trapped cargo ships to move freely in and out of Ukrainian ports. While the Kiev administration's struggle against the occupation continues, its statements reassure the Ukrainian front. The Ukrainian attacks on Russia's logistics in Crimea are thought to be harbinger of a major development. For the Ukrainian army, which is trying to expand its counterattack operations, these attacks show a preparation process. Natalia Hamaniuk, spokesperson for Ukraine's Southern Operational Command, said that the purpose of Ukraine's attacks on the bridges was clear, as reported in late July. She said that the offensive operations had put Russia in a difficult position and forced it to consider new ways of delivering ammunition and supplies to its forces. Ukrainian authorities said that they would continue to destroy Russia's stockpile and end logistics. They pledged to liberate the Crimean Peninsula from Russian occupation and said that the work was continuing at pace. Moscow, on the other hand, continues to make statements condemning Ukraine for the attacks on the Kerch Bridge and Chernhar Bridge. Russian troops, whose logistic network had suffered a major blow, are working on alternative routes, but they are not always successful. The growing pressure on Russia requires the authorities to take action as soon as possible. But the Kremlin's no-fault approach and ignorance of the details has delayed action. With no one accountable to the people for these wrong policies, unrest is felt in all segments of society. According to information obtained from local sources, Russian troops in the region are anxiously waiting for Ukrainian attacks. It is said that military affairs are not going smoothly as the Russian soldiers deployed in the region are inexperienced soldiers. With the upcoming second wave of mobilization and the arrival of many new recruits to the front line, the coming days are likely to be more challenging for Russia. How do you think Russia's situation against Ukraine can be interpreted? What are the differences as you see between the Ukrainian army and the Russian army? What are the consequences of Ukraine's strengthening in the Black Sea and creating a new corridor? Do you think Russia realizes that it is losing its power in the Black Sea? Do you think that the Ukrainian army and Kiev leadership will successfully expand their counteroffensive operations? We value your opinion. Please share it with us.